It's time now for our Saturday Throwback, when we take a deep dive into the KMOV archive, searching for notable reports from days gone by. Today we go back to January of 1978 to remember the battle over inches and miles versus meters and kilometers. We'll also get some of the latest advice for ladies who want to stay warm and still look great in the winter cold. And we'll also hear from one of the Blues' first superstars, the player famous for his flowing golden hair and record-breaking durability. First, to the debate over converting the United States to the metric system. This one really all the rage back in the 70s. In 1975, President Ford signed the Metric Conversion Act, making the metric system the officially preferred system for American trade and commerce. Obviously, though, it never really took off. The act was strictly voluntary, and Americans decided they were happy with inches and feet and ounces and pounds. Except that is the wine industry. The wine industry really embracing metrics, and by 1978, many bottlers were moving to milliliters. A News 4 reporter went to hear more about that.
Actually, the wine industry for a number of years has put pressure on the federal government to get the government to standardize the wine bottle, and they wanted the European bottle to have the same number of ounces as the American bottle. So I think it was logical that the wine business be chosen first when they went to the conversion, because the wine business had been instrumental in wanting the metric system used for wine bottles.
How does the metric size compare with the compulsory size that's used now?
Right now we're using the 1/5 quart, quart, which is virtually identical to the 750 milliliter. There's about maybe about a half a teaspoon difference between the two bottles. If you look at the two bottles, you could not tell the difference.
There you go. That was 1978, and as anyone who buys wine knows, the metric system is now standard for wine sales, with bottles marked by milliliter or liter. So now you know next time you're in that aisle. Okay, we're going to move now to a topic that's come up a few times already in our throwback segment, and that's the weather. As we have poured through our file tapes from the winters of the late 70s, it's pretty obvious they were some harsh years. This video from the last week of January 1978, when there was quite a bit of snow, very cold. Art Hill here really getting a workout those winters. Looks like that cameraman went sledding himself. So with the cold hanging around so long, a News 4 reporter went to a local expert in women's fashion to ask, what kind of winter hat should the smart-dressed lady buy? Here's what he had to say.
I think basically in the wintertime to be warm and to have a fashionable look.
What are some of the ways that we can achieve that warmth and fashion?
Oh, I think that the knit goods, the scarves and hat combinations and mitten sets, this type of hat.
What does a fur hat achieve, the real fur hat?
Well, it's a look of elegance, and it also has a look of warmth, and it's really the most economical hat you can buy, because basically the shapes and styles don't change. So you buy a hat that costs $100, and the real furs, you wear that hat for 10 years and it's costing you $10.
What's the most up-and-coming look in hats that are also warm?
I think probably the Bass Beret. It's a little wool felt flat beret that you wear in the spring, you wear it in the fall, in the winter. It's you look at almost any fashion magazine, woman's magazine, and you see them wearing this.
There's your fashion advice from the 70s. Okay, check this out. This one's kind of cute. We also came across this one. Someone ice fishing. Again, this is from January of 1978. Not sure exactly where this is. Like that he's in his lawn chair. Unfortunately, we don't know if he caught anything that day or not. And finally, we hear from a man who knows a thing or two about ice. Probably never wanted to wear a hat because, gosh, he sure had some great hair. In fact, his flowing golden locks were the reason he ended up becoming a star for the St. Louis Blues. Of course, we're talking about number 7, the great Garry Unger.
We're getting the goaltending now from Phil Muir. He's a great goaltender.
He has some pretty great hair. That's Unger talking about the Blues goalie. Unger was known as the Golden Boy, both for his hair and his athletic skills. In 1971, the Detroit Red Wings actually traded him to St. Louis, all because he refused to cut his hair. that trade would turn out to be one of the best in Blues history. Over 9 seasons here, he became the first real Blues superstar, well known to fans who didn't even follow the sport itself, and he hated sitting on the bench.
You can't sit on the bench and come out a couple of shifts in a game and play the game. That's why I'm against playing 4 lines, because I find myself looking in the crowd. You know, you sit for 5 minutes and then you go back on the ice for 30 seconds and then you sit for another 10 minutes. You happen to get a penalty, you know, you may be playing 2 shifts a game.
I'm distracted looking at his flowing hair now. That love of playing sure helped him earn another nickname, Iron Man. Between 1968 and 1979, he played in a record 914 consecutive games. And this in an era when players didn't even wear helmets. Can you imagine? That's back when the refs let the players fight it out until they were bloody. 914 straight games, really a remarkable record in any pro sport, but in hockey, man, almost unimaginable, especially under those terms. Well, take a look at Garry Unger today. This photo taken last year at a training camp in Michigan. Still has those golden locks. You see his hair there. His Ironman record stood until 1986. He is still number 2, though, on hockey's consecutive game record list. How fun was that throwback?